Hi guys, today we're gonna talk about globalist games that are reached the step number 2. The first step been already covered in one of my videos. It was about the beginning of tensions in Ukraine, and that topic is not over. We have recent news about this guy Saakashvili, who was actually deported from Ukraine, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit later. First of all, we're gonna talk about let's say these are two parts of two teams, whatever you want to call them, Globalist team and Nationalist team. The biggest problem of Nationalist team is war in versus ISIS in Syria and war in Ukraine. I'm not saying versus in Ukraine, I'm saying war in Ukraine, because there is no winner in that war. The biggest problem for globalists is Putin, because he is a current leader of rebellion of nationals worldwide, because globalists already got control for a couple of decades. They were doing whatever they want, and nobody was able to stop them until we got this guy named Putin, who said, no, we ain't going out like that, we ain't going out like that. That's what he said, because we supposed to have a fair share. And he got it. Nationals watched what he was doing for a decade or so, maybe even more, and started raising their hands, raising their heads, and started the activity, the collaboration, the concentration of their will and power in different types of persons which were leading in different countries. So right now we got many countries where nationals are winning big time. First country is United States. Second country is Russia. And the third country right now is Turkey. There are no more big countries that we should talk about, but we also know such countries as Hungary, Czech Republic, and many more small countries like Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan not very small, but it's small in population. Okay, so China, let's say these are the problems, and under this line let's draw another line. We have the achievements. So the achievements of nationals right now is peace. Okay. Let's see. Well, whatever. The achievements of globalists right now is war. So they started the war in Syria, and they started the war in Ukraine, and that's where the Saakashvili guy comes out, because he was the president of Georgia. He's the main agent of Georgian intervention in 2008 that was made during the Olympic Games in China. That's such a good present for China, which understood that they're supposed to obey the globalists, and since then China is one of the best leaders of globalist movement. And although they have communist regime, they don't obey communist ideology anymore. They obey globalist ideology, because communist ideology, if you switch a couple of words in it, it's completely a globalist ideology, globalist paradigm or propaganda paradigm, whatever. So achievements of globalists was starting the war, and they wanted to the war to continue and reach the world world area, so every country should be involved. And they started the war using the hands of the terrorists, because terrorists don't have any borders. They can appear in any country. They can appear in Sweden, they can appear in Norway, they can appear in Germany, they can appear anywhere. And that's why they use so many so-called false flag operations, because they want to show that terrorism is everywhere. So when you got videos about some fake terrorist attacks, be sure it's a globalist game, because they wanted to scare the people, scare the hell out of them, so they can give the globalists all the agenda they want to be in power, and all the materials and all the precious things that people own, they'll give it to globalists just for staying safe. So globalists are just like robbers, globalists are just like pirates, globalists just like a gang. So a gang wanna bang a bunch of people big time. They're just a small amount of people, and they are controlled by the financial mafia or banksters. But still they wanna be quite individualist, so they tell banksters, oh banksters, we are so creative, that we are so good in management and destroying people, why don't you just step aside and we do it all the best, and you're gonna be very pleased with us. And so banksters say, okay, let you be globalists, let it be. But some banksters still doing the good old thing when they feed both sides simultaneously, and just like they were feeding USSR and Germany during the World War II. That's what they do every time when they start any conflict, like we have in ISIS conflict in Syria. So they feed in ISIS with the hands of globalists, and feed in Syria with the hands of nationals. Although Syria is not very good, not very polite to their people, if to say so, even more dangerous to the population. Sometimes they may use any methods necessary to reach their goals. The war in Ukraine is also made to just kill and erase people. So they started the war, and now what they're doing is what just bringing the world to the next war with the hands of Ukrainian maniacs that were in power, and were just the bunch of coup which got in power. And what we see is what we see. Right now we have many information coming up about how it was set up by US. In that time US was globalist country, were set by US officials in army, ambassadors, and whatever. So even US State Department persons were interfering in the rebellion which was set up and played in front of our eyes, and we were just sitting and watching it for a couple of months. And when it started, everybody was sure that nothing gonna happen. And guess what? It was Olympic game season, just like we have today. So probably they're gonna use Olympic period to start a step number 2. Step number 2 is igniting Ukraine, and here's what they're doing right now. And counteractions that nationals do is that they provide information which says that Saakashvili was starting those sniper attacks during the Maidan at 19th and 20th of February 4 years ago. So he set up a couple of teams, which included Georgian special forces officers, which were used with him in 2008 during the war. So those are U.S. trained personnel of Georgia, and they are just very good trained snipers. So with the practice of real time warfare. So of course they did what they did, and they killed a bunch of people there. That's what they're saying right now. Why they saying it? Because they wanna stay alive, because the special forces of US already hunting them, and a couple of them are already down. So right now they hiding, and the Nationals support them for not to be killed, because they are real witnesses of Saakashvili's crimes. And Saakashvili is leading to Poroshenko, because he is a man of Poroshenko's first. That's why he's supposed to be pressing Poroshenko right now, because they have a compromission material about him. So this material is those files that we have show us that he is an agent of CIA. That CIA that was working during the Globalist time, which was before 2016. So that was the time that Maidan was started in 2014, and they all the same. They all know what they're talking about. So those people, you know those people. Just read the lines of any media, and if it says a name that was working in 2014, it's probably the guy who was voting for starting the war in Ukraine. Okay. So right now what we have is Saakashvili was banned from Ukraine just in front of these hearings, or report that he's supposed to be doing in a trial in court, when he was some type of witness of Maidan, and he was supposed to be asked about the what those people tell us. There was an Italian documentary about that. So if you want to watch it, watch Italian research about this Maidan, where those Georgian snipers give their information. Okay, tell their stories about what was happening actually at that week, when people were killed in dozens of numbers. Okay, so Saakashvili fled the Ukraine to save his ass and not to give information in court during the trial. So probably he was saved by Globalist, because if he would start talking, the Poroshenko would be down, because probably Saakashvili would say that Poroshenko was paying him for that, or maybe somebody who was in power at that time, like Yatsenyuk or somebody else who was in front of them. So what we know is all those people are in the same team, and that team was led by the such people as Nuland, Victoria Nuland, and Biden. Okay, that's why Biden is so often calling Ukrainian president that he was talking to him more when he was talking to his wife. So, but right now Biden is not saving Poroshenko anymore, because he knows that probably very soon the war is gonna start, and he dropped Saakashvili to start this campaign in October, when he started actually the next Miko Maidan. He said it, Mikhail Maidan is like Michael Maidan. His name is Mikhail, so it's Michael. So Mikhail Maidan is the new type of Maidan that he started. So they were sitting close to the Ukrainian parliament for a couple of months, and they had camps, and they have it. So, and still they are there, because yesterday or a couple of days before that they were starting a march, and about 10,000 people are still active in that movement against Poroshenko. But right now globalists know if the Saakashvili is gonna give his information to the court, probably Poroshenko will be down. So they pull Mikhail Saakashvili out of this situation, because it's like when you have your dog near you, you're supposed to pull it sometimes to yourself, because he can bite somebody you don't want him to bite. Okay, so right now Saakashvili was too close to bite Poroshenko, and they pulled him out of the country. Any means necessary. Although he was supposed to be in court on 13th of February, he was pulled out at 12th of February, and he was pulled out very funny, because they actually got him arrested. So they arrested him and deported him on a private plane to Poland, and then he went to his family to Holland. Oh, very good deportation, you know. So right now what we know is they probably gonna start something during the Olympic season. That is like a week or something left, or maybe even less. So I hope we don't see anything. The Nationals really counterattack and don't let the globalists do what they did 2 Olympic seasons in a row. No war anymore. Okay, so probably we are gonna be safe if nationals are smart enough. And what we see is they are really winning. Globalists are losing everywhere. Look at the Bitcoin. Look at all this trash that they providing us. All those global markets and stuff like this. It's just a bunch of fake bubbles which can blow at any time. Bitcoin was dropped twice in a week, or maybe even less. Now it's rising again, just to head to another drop. And bearish movement for Bitcoin is not ending at 5,000 per Bitcoin. It's gonna be like 1,000 per Bitcoin probably. National's gonna press that globalist currency out. They don't want it. They want their own currencies, because they want a monetary system which is free of central banks, globalist mafia. Okay, so probably I want your questions in comments, and if you don't understand something, please let me know. I'll be back with more explanations. Thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Bye.